Hey yo everyone, it's me again, and I'm putting this little video together. It's just a small quick guide to explain all about the AFSP in regards to piloting and what the heck it is. Um, there is not too many guides that I saw that convey properly what it is, and haven't recently myself gone through it and been going through it and still going through it. I thought I could decipher some of the jargon and translate the 9-page instruction page that you get and turn it into basic English so everyone can understand. So, first of all, AFSP is a program. It is not. It has the very unfortunate coincidence that it's the same name as another website, American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, which is by no means a good cause. Check out their website, I'll link it below. So that of course is only one of the confusions that there is about this program. If your flight instructor says that you have to fill out a TSA form or AFSP, they're talking about the Alien Flight Student Program, which is run by the TSA, Transport Security Administration, and that's a Department of Homeland Security. Which is probably why the other website hasn't sued them for copyright, because it's the government. And we all know you can't sue the government. So, what is it? So, primarily, it is a program designated or designed to protect the country from people wanting or intending to do harm through flight and learning to fly. Yes, this is probably because of 9/11. They did have something like this beforehand, but I'm betting it wasn't as nearly as strong as it is now, because the people that flew the planes into the towers got their flight training through schools in the US, and that's where they got the training and the skills to do what they did. So they beefed up their security to prevent anything like that happening again. So this entire process is another background check, basically. Or in my opinion, it seems, or from my perspective, it seems nothing more than a hustle from the government to get even more money out of you than it already has. Because it screws you over backwards, and if you don't do this, you can't do what you want to do. So again, it's a case of the few spoiling it for the many. Because not everyone is a terrorist, not everyone has any ill harm. But because of a few idiots, it spoils it for the rest of us. So you go to the website, which is the flightschoolcandidates.gov, G-O-V, and you create an account, and you create a flight request. Now, there's no point. You can go ahead and fill in your information and the school that you wanted to do, but there's no point submitting it until you actually speak to your flight school or flight instructor, because you're going to need information from them, and they need to know who you are, because once you submit it, it gets sent to that school or the provider, and they need to say, yes, I know this person, or they'll just reject it and you get nowhere flat. I was a little pre-hasty, and I started my request all the way back in March, but I didn't submit it until November, until I did the information. So I had all the information filled out. I did everything up until the point. Now, the information that you're going to need is what category that you're going to be doing, 1, 2, 3, or 4. And you need to know what type of plane you're going to be flying. And this only information you're going to get from your instructor, not anywhere else. Second of all, these training requests are good for only 1 year. So if you're doing a 3-year or 4-year course, you have to renew it every year that you intend to do this. I myself hopefully will become a citizen, so I only have to do it this one time. So by the time this expires, I won't even have to worry about it. That also gives an interesting question. I did my fingerprints for the biometrics for the naturalization process. They do not transfer over to the flight program because even though they are Homeland Security, it's completely different. Don't ask me why, it makes no sense to me, but that's what I was told. So once you have the information, you go ahead, fill it in, and submit it. Now, once you submit it, it's going to ask you for payment. You can either do this by credit card, or you can do DCH or ACH, bank transfer, basically direct deposit. It takes 5 days for them to process your payment. And then you'll hear nothing from them until they start to work on your application. Now, towards the end of the year, they get extra busy, as I found out. During the middle of the year, they're less busy, but they post updates on where they are and how far behind they are. From what I saw, Category 3, they normally go through 3 days per day. And once they do, once you submit it, the provider or the instructor they'll check everything and they'll either deny or confirm it. Once they confirm it, it goes through the process. They check everything, check all your documents, make sure that everything's good. If it doesn't, they'll send you an email say, hey, we're missing this. Can you please send upload a document or whatever you're missing? Quite simple. The second, 20 minutes later, if you do it on the same day, like I got the email saying they needed a better picture of my passport at 13:57. By 14:25, they replied saying, we got it, we're processing your request. And immediately I got the email with the instructions. Now, the email itself actually doesn't arrive in your email inbox. It's deceptive when they said they'll send you an email with the instructions for how to do the fingerprints, because they actually don't. What you do is you go into the website again, you click on login, and at the top you'll see a few TSA emails, and there will be the listed email with fingerprint instructions. And then you get to this. This is a 9-page document that you'll read. This is the entire email. It says you have to take this with you no matter where you go. And if you do not follow the instructions exactly to the letter, they fail. And it will just delay the process. US driver's license, and that would be accepted. However, when you go to submit the application, it does not allow you to submit it without a current passport with a picture. So you actually do need a passport, even though it is useless. And then the fee that you need to pay is $130 just for them to process it. And then recently they posted an update on December 4th that you can use Ident Go, and the training provider does not have to go with you. And then I read the email instructions, and then part of it says the training provider has to go with you, and another part of it says it doesn't. Now, where the confusion is, and where they do a really bad job of explaining it, is you only need to have your instructor or training provider to accompany you is if you use a local law enforcement, a federal, state, or local law enforcement to get your fingerprints collected. If you use their program, or Ident Go apparently, then you do not need your training provider to accompany you. It really does a bad job saying that in this. It doesn't say it clearly. There's only 3 examples, and it makes it appear and seem like they have to go with you. In fact, I probably annoyed my instructor, but I wanted to ask because I saw the application guide, I read it, and it says the provider has to go with you. And he emailed back saying, I've done 2 of these with others previous students and I never had to go with them. So he emailed them, see where they went, and they came back using the website. And that website is the National Air Transportation Association Compliance Services, or NATACS. And now if you use them, you can select if you're inside or outside of the US. If you're inside, you only have to pay $100. If you're outside the US, you have to pay $200. I am rounding up by $1. It's $99 and $199. So I'm rounding it up with tax and everything else. Cheapskates bastards, but you know. Like $1 is really going to make a difference. But you select the state or where you are. You contact the office or the person that you're going to need to go. They have their preferred method of contact listed and the address that you need to go to. At the bottom there's a blue button that says AFSP enrollment. You have to fill out every information on that form, and this is where you submit payment. Now this payment is non-refundable, and you have to take the instructions and the enrollment form with you, otherwise you cannot get your fingerprints done and it just delays it. Now Pennsylvania has only 1 location that you can go to, which is frustrating. I checked with my local law enforcement and then none of them do it around here anymore. And the Ident Go office that's in Allentown doesn't do it, even though the website says it does, but who knows. Perhaps they didn't get the memo yet. But yeah, it is very confusing. First of all, the name has nothing to do with the Foundation of Suicide Prevention. Second of all, it's by Homeland Security, but it's not. It's a separate program with the name protected. They don't use information or share information with other departments of Homeland Security. So your information and biometrics from the USCIS does not get transferred over to this. I must have had like 12 different FBI background checks done on me now, and they all come out the same. So it's good to know I'm not a terrorist, but I don't know why they just can't talk to each other and just make the process a hell of a lot simpler. Say, oh, you've done a background check on this guy? When was it done? Less than 6 months? Okay, good. You know, it make everything a lot simpler and a lot easier. But I understand I understand the process of this and the reason why it has to be done, and I accept that. But obviously, it doesn't stop anyone with bad intentions from doing this. It's an ineffective way to prevent anything like 9/11 happening again. Because you could have someone squeak clean that's indoctrinized. They can go all through the training, and they can still do it, regardless if they have their fingerprints checked or not. But that's neither here nor there. So that is the basic guide of the Alien Flight Student Program of the TSA, and I hope that explains it a little bit. I'm going to attach this video to the preamble playlist, but I'm not going to include it as a preamble. There's going to be 1 more, and that's going to be it for the year and before I start. I wanted to do these preamble vlogs to get myself in a pattern and get used to doing vlogs, and now I've done that. I'm pretty much used to it, and It's going to be a kind of a bigger video, 30-minute video, because I'm going to combine everything with the major update that I have. Like I've got a couple of things that coming from Pilot Mall. I got final updates, hopefully from a final meeting, and hopefully I can present the email from this TSA thing. Then I have got permission to fly, and then I should be good to go. And who knows, maybe I'll actually show you whatever the flight kit looks like whenever I get that. Yeah, by the way, I did get the replacement calculator. It has to be said they were actually pretty good with that. They just swapped it out and they didn't do anything. And a small retraction from my last video about them. The reason why they don't have batteries is because they don't have batteries. The person doesn't take it out. It's the shop they take it out because they believe it's bad leaving batteries inside of calculators. So the person before didn't pinch them. So I fully retract that statement. But the back cover and the state of the calculator that it was in, and the fact that it didn't work, still stands. But I feel it's important to be accurate. So, okay guys, thank you. I hope this guide helps a little bit. Adios.